What a great guy. What an inspiration, and always so great with his interviews, always so gracious with his time. I want to make mention of something because I don't do this often, but I think it's important in this particular case to mention it because I see everything, I read everything, and I see people saying like, oh, sort your technical difficulties on the show. Did you see the connection there in the Nick Newell interview? Crystal clear. Did you see the connection in the Ioana interview? Not so crystal clear. We're using the internet. Things happen based off of people's different internet connection. It's not on us. And I know there's a lot of noob fans, but one of the staples of the MMA hour back in the day were technical difficulties. That's just what happens when you're doing a show of this nature. So it has nothing to do with where I'm sitting or what technology is here. This is all very well and good, if not better. So trust me on this one. Look at it right there. That was literally minutes later. Sometimes you're in a spot where it's just not good, and it's going to happen. Appreciate Nick Newell for coming on and for being so open. Now, around this time, we were supposed to be joined by Darren Till. Darren Till had to reschedule and was kind enough to send us a nice little video message about his upcoming fight against Tyron Woodley, about the title fight, about the opportunity to fight for the belt. Somewhat out of nowhere, it was supposed to be Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley. Of course, that didn't happen. We'll talk about that a little more in the last hour of the show. But unfortunately, we won't be talking to him live. But he did send us a video message, which was very kind. And I wanted to play that for all of you. So I'm going to wait for Jake. Jake, we good to play that? Yeah, it seems like we're good to play that. Here's Mr. Darren Till in London with a nice little message to both me and his fans.
This is Darren Till speaking for the Ariel Helwani show. I just want to speak. Sorry I couldn't come on tonight. I'll be on next Monday, 1,000,000%. I just want to speak about the Woodley fight and like the Colby situation. All my thoughts on it. My honest opinion. The UFC offered me the Woodley fight, and obviously I'm going to accept it. I'm not going to turn a fight like that down. That is the welterweight champion. And it's the pinnacle of the division now. Tyron Woodley's the champion. You don't get to be the welterweight champion by beating nobodies. He's beat everyone. I believe that welterweight is one of the hardest divisions in the UFC, and right now there's not a man in that division who can beat me. There's just not a man, and it's certainly not Woodley. So the 8th of September I'm going in there and I'm dethroning the champion, and as soon as I've dethroned the champion, Colby can have his shot at the title. I believe Colby's missed the opportunity. I think it is a sad situation. It's unfortunate for Colby. He is the rightful owner of the interim belt. He beat Dos Anjos, but sometimes you can't have your cake and eat it. He wanted everything on his terms, and the UFC didn't want that, so he's had to sit out now. I believe that was, you just can't talk all that much about how you're gonna beat this champion. You beat him in sparring and whatever, and then the champ responds, Woodley responds, and then the fight just sort of flutters off into the air. It doesn't seem to work like that. As soon as Colby beat Dos Anjos, Woodley called Colby out. So that was made. Woodley was game, and then it just doesn't happen. So there's the second guy, me, Darren Till. I'm ready. So that's all I think about it. I don't give a f about any of that. I just want to go in there the 8th of September and prove why I'm the best fighter alive right now. So, that's me thoughts on it all. And sorry for not coming on tonight, guys. And I'll see you all next Monday, and I'll see you in LA Friday.
So there you have it. There's Darren Till. A couple of interesting things, saying that Colby missed out on his shot. He's taking his opportunity. You certainly can't fault him for that. He is going to take the opportunity that is given to him. Colby Covington getting surgery done last Tuesday on a nasal issue, hoping to return in November. So Till slides in. He fights Tyron Woodley. Also referenced, if you heard there, something in LA on Friday. It sounds like the UFC, and I've heard this from a few people, they're doing one of those big, press conferences. Does that mean Conor and Khabib show up? I think that would be ideal for them, but I also kind of feel like those guys having their own press conference would be most ideal because they will overshadow everyone who's there. I mean, I can't imagine other people getting questions if they're both sitting there. So we'll see how that plays out. I kind of feel like they need their own little to do. The fight is not signed. Hopeful that it happens in October, but we'll see how it transitions. I appreciate Darren doing that, and I congratulate him on getting the fight. I know a lot of fans are excited about it. It's going to be an interesting road to 228, and I hope that we'll talk to him very soon. All right. Let's move along now to our next guest. Now 4-1 in the UFC. Undefeated as a flyweight. The former CFFC women's bantamweight and flyweight champion. Massive win over Alexis Davis on Saturday in Calgary. She is Katlyn Chookagian, and she joins us now via the magic of Skype. Katlyn, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Would it be fair to say this was the biggest win of your career?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I say that after every fight, but you know, this being like my second fight at my real division, weight division, and Alexis being so established and a veteran. I mean, before I even had an amateur fight, I was watching her fight professionally. So, you know, having someone I kind of like watched growing up, and then her being number 3 in the division, definitely made it a pretty big fight for me.
Yes, and former title contender at 135. I mean, there's a lot there. Canadian, so you beat the Canadian on her home turf. One of the staples of your fights seemed to be that they're always very close, and we don't know where they're going to go as far as the judges are concerned. Were you confident after the fight, but before they read the scorecards, that you had done enough to win this fight?
Yeah, even though it was in Canada, I was still confident that I won. I mean, I didn't really get hit that much. I mean, I knew she was going forward, but she was going forward and hit it and getting hit the whole time. You know, after the first minute, her face was like completely bloody, and I don't have a mark on my face, and that's usually how like a lot of my fights go. You know, sometimes I get criticized. People say I punch in the air, but I mean, their faces are always bloody, and I don't usually have a mark on my face, so I'm obviously hitting them.
Right.
But even though it was in Canada, going into the decision, I was confident that I had that fight.
What's the difference as far as the way you fight at 125 and at 135? How do you feel different? Or maybe it's your opponent feels obviously bigger. Like, why do you think you do so much? I mean, obviously your record is phenomenal. You have the one blemish at 135, but that's to someone who was who's now actually doing pretty well at 125. But why is it different for you?
I think for me, I didn't notice that much of a difference. I kind of got lucky at 35. I only had like 2 or 3 fights, 3 fights at 35, and 2 of those are girls that are at flyweight. So I got kind of lucky with that.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, I just feel faster at 25. I can make 135, like, you know, today or any day, you know, and I can kind of like slack off with my diet a little bit. I don't have to do that extra road work to make 35. I just feel like I have more of a size advantage as far as my reach. You know, people say I'm like big at 125, but some of the girls I'm fighting, they're a lot more muscular than me. I'm just tall, so I look bigger, but I think I can use my reach a little bit better at 125, and you know, I feel faster, you know, shape.
So like I said, 4-1 in the UFC, 2-0 as a flyweight. And yet I don't feel like your name is being discussed in the title picture at 125, which is a very new division. A lot of the females there are coming from a different weight class, either up from 115 or down from 135. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, I beat a lot of girls at 125. You know, I'm undefeated there. You know, I went up to, they didn't have my weight division, so I didn't just sit around and wait. I was like, all right, whatever, I'll fight at 135 till they open it. And I did pretty well there. I don't know. I just don't think maybe because I wasn't in Invicta, and, you know, that's kind of like umbrella for UFC. I didn't fight in Invicta, and I wasn't on the Ultimate Fighter. I think that all the girls that were on the Ultimate Fighter kind of get a little bit more recognition.
Uh-huh.
So maybe that's why. But, I mean, if you look at the facts, like I'm undefeated at this weight class, and I keep winning here, so I better get recognized soon.
Yeah, and a lot of people may not even know that you have a win over Sijara Eubanks, who was a finalist on the Ultimate Fighter. Of course, she failed to make weight, but that's a nice feather in your cap now, especially after the show. Did you consider going on the show, the 125 season?
So the day they announced that they were opening 125 and they were going to have the Ultimate Fighter, it was the night before I went into shoulder surgery. I had tore my labrum in my fight against Irina Aldana in Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I was like so happy that they're opening at 125, and I'm like, wait, the winner gets the title? I was like, and I'm going into shoulder surgery. So, and then my coaches were the coaches on the Ultimate Fighter.
That's right.
So I'm like, I could have been on there, won the title, and had my coaches there, but I was like sitting there in a sling, and I couldn't move my arm for the whole summer. So I was like super bummed out. But if that wasn't the case, then I definitely would have gone on and, gone for that title. But it all works out eventually.
Yes. Oh, yes. I forgot about that aspect. Eddie Alvarez was the coach. Mark Henry was there. Frankie was there. That was your whole crew.
I know.
It's so rare that happens.
Going on the Ultimate Fighter without their coaches and stuff. I'm like, my coaches were there. So, but I actually went there for like a week or two to kind of help out and stuff. So, it all worked out. At the time you think it's a big deal, but once the show's over, people kind of forget about it.
How do you feel about the state of the division? Nico is finally coming back. She's finally defending the title on September 8th. It's taken her a while to come back, and Valentina has been sitting around waiting since February. How do you feel about the state of it right now?
If that fight happens, then, it's because I think I can just get the ball rolling for the division. Besides those two, right now I feel like everyone else is just fighting each other, and it's just random matchups till the division kind of plays out. But hopefully that match in September happens. But, you never know. I'm going to stay ready just in case something happens to one of them, so I'm ready to go.
Why do you seem so skeptical?
Well, just because it's been supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen for so many months, So I'm not saying anything personal to anyone, but if there's injuries, you see all the other cards, fights are falling through, someone gets injured, someone misses weight. It's definitely an eye-opener as a fighter. You got to be ready so you have that opportunity.
I believe that Nico Montano is one of, if not the biggest champion underdogs going into a title fight. Do you feel like she is not getting enough respect, or do you feel like this is a mismatch?
I definitely think Valentina's going to win. I mean, we all know how good she is, and she's proven herself and how good she was at 135. And but that being said, I do think Nico's being overlooked a little. I think she's better than people give her credit for. I think she's really tough, and I think she's pretty good in those scrappy fights. When she's an underdog, like she was on the Ultimate Fighter, I think she kind of does a little bit better. So I do think people are underestimating her a little bit, but I would definitely go Valentina for that fight.
Are you hoping Valentina wins? Like, do you feel like that's a bigger fight? It's better for the division?
Either one. I mean, whoever. I think someone just needs to win. Like this is almost like when the division's going to start.
Okay. Yep.
Because no matter how good Nico could have been, people are always going to say, "Oh, well, it was just the Ultimate Fighter. She didn't fight Valentina yet." So whether she wins or lose, I think this is going to be like the official start of our division. So I think whoever wins, it's good for everyone.
You mentioned your coaches earlier, and you come from one of the best teams, Mark Henry, Ricardo Almeida, all those guys. It was a tough night for the team because, of course, what happened in the main event, and Mark is such a passionate guy and is I think blaming himself for what happened to Eddie Alvarez. Is it difficult for you? You pick up a win over a big name, I think the biggest win of your career, and yet I'm assuming by the end of the night everyone's kind of down, so you can't like fully be happy. Is that strange? Is that tough to see your coaches so upset? I don't know. Maybe I'm concocting something in my mind here, but is that a strange thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely always tough. Our team is pretty small compared to some other teams. So like if one person doesn't do well or doesn't have their way that night, it definitely affects all of us. So that happening to Eddie was definitely unfortunate, and it definitely puts a little bit of a damper on the night. Although I'm still happy for my performance. We are a team, and everyone gets bummed out about that. No one wants to see that, and especially we all know how Mark Henry is and how passionate he is. I guarantee he hasn't slept since then, and he's probably not sleeping all week because of this.
How was he afterwards?
Harder than Eddie.
Yeah, and it sounded that way earlier. How was he afterwards?
He was definitely bummed out. I mean, I saw him like later. He was just like, like I said, there's no way he slept that night. Oh.
Yeah. I would imagine going into the fight, it must have been great to be on a card with Eddie, because you have everyone there and you're both, obviously you're not sparring together, things like that. But it probably kind of like one of those rising tide lifts all boats type of thing, right?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, this whole last couple of weeks, like there's so many people on our team fighting, so everyone's kind of in camp together. Like every weekend, someone's fighting, so the energy in the room is just intense, and it's a lot better than when it's just you fighting and then everyone else. Especially in the summertime, you wanna be down the shore the whole time. So when everyone else is training, it makes it a lot better.
How do you feel about the 12-6 elbow rule?
I mean, I guess we all know it's illegal.
Yeah.
I think you should be able to maybe do them to the body. Like if you're in someone's guard, do them from there. But I think it's too risky, so it's just easier to say don't throw them at all.
Right. There are some people who believe it's an old, antiquated karate rule that it's not even more dangerous. It's just like a crazy thing that they came up with when they were putting together the unified rules, and it shouldn't even be illegal at all. Period.
Yeah, I mean, you can you can do like an Edson Barbosa spinning wheel kick to someone's head, but you can't do the elbow. I'd rather take the elbow than some of the kicks to the face.
Yeah, like what's that going to do? Like a 12-6 elbow is just going to like make you paralyzed or something or kill you? I don't understand why it's considered so lethal.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that's like so silly that they just kind of forget about it and don't adjust the rules.
Exactly. I have always felt that they needed to adjust it after the John Jones-Matt Hamill fight, after he was disqualified for that, because that was silly, I thought, at the time as well. And that did way more damage than what Eddie did, of course, on Saturday, because that broke his nose. Yeah,
maybe after this one, they'll go back and touch base on it.
Do you feel that you don't get enough attention or respect or buzz because you're not finishing fights? Like, do you think that that's a real thing, that you get penalized for that in the fans' eyes and the promotion's eyes?
Maybe. I mean, not that many girls right now in the division are getting like a lot of finishes, so I don't really know. For whatever reason, I think it just seems like sometimes some people get the recognition, sometimes they don't. Some people lose and they get more recognition than when they win. I mean, you know, I almost finished, like my one fight I almost finished and I dropped the person and then I lost that fight. So it's like, to me, you know, I just got to go for the win, and however, winning is the only thing that matters. So for me, I don't care how it gets done, winning, and my strategy is more boxing based, so it might be get hit or hit and not get hit. So, you know, people say I run around a lot, but really, if you know what you're looking for, it's a lot of footwork and touch and go. So if that style is not fan friendly, I mean, that sucks for me, but that's my style and I'm winning, so that's good for me.
Do you feel like the UFC favors a more brawling style?
I don't know. Like sometimes I think they favor, you know, I do a lot of like flashy kicks and karate kicks and stuff, and sometimes that seems like that's getting more favorites. And then sometimes it seems like, you know, a wrestler doesn't get recognition, but then sometimes they do. I think it all just depends on, you know, what's the flavor of the month. Fair
enough. So for you right now, what are you doing? You want to wait, obviously, to see what happens. Like, what's your perfect scenario?
Perfect scenario, I need to get another fight in this year. You know, MSG, obviously. You know, I train at Henzo Gracie's, which is a half a block from there. You can literally see it from there.
Yeah.
You know, that would be ideal. I would want to fight there, but I'm sure everyone wants to get on that card.
Yeah.
I definitely want to fight before the end of the year. I have no injuries right now. I'm ready to go. So I want to get another fight, whether, you know, I think I should be there for the title shot, maybe, whoever wins. Like I said, I'm undefeated. I just beat number 3. So I think my name should be in that conversation without a doubt. I don't think I need to prove that anymore, but you know, I just want to fight again before the end of the year, whether it's for the title shot, for the other shot, or whatever. I'll take whatever they give me.
And I know your nickname is Blonde Fighter, and obviously you're blonde. Is it true that people actually refer to you as Blonde Fighter, like in the gym, like just in casual day-to-day life?
Oh, absolutely. There's like people that they're like, "What's your name? I've known you for 2 years, but I always call you Blonde Fighter." You know, like my parents call me Blonde Fighter. Like,
really?
My boyfriend does. So it's kind of just it was my Instagram name, and it just kind of stuck with. More people call me that than Katlyn.
Wow. And you gave it to yourself?
Yeah, when I first got Instagram, I was like, I don't even know what Instagram is. Like, let me just quick make up a username so I can see what it is. My friends were in college were like telling me to get it. I was like, this is stupid. It's, you know, whatever. And then I got it, and I just quick made it in 2 seconds, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Wow. Is it annoying when, like, your boyfriend or your parents call you that, or you don't mind?
No, I'm so used to it. Like, everyone at the gym and stuff, everyone just calls me Blonde Fighter or BF. So I'm just so used to it, I don't care.
All right. I like that attitude. Congratulations on the win, Katlyn. Continued success to you. And I hope you do get that other fight. And I do agree you should be in that discussion right now at the top of the division. So hopefully it works out sooner rather than later. Thank you very much. And I know you've been thinking that I've been ducking you. It's great to finally have you on the show. And it's great that you finally made time out of your schedule for us because you're so busy. Wow.
Yeah, so busy. I only had to beat the number 3 girl in the world for you to talk to me.
There you go. You know, you need some qualifications. I appreciate it, though. Great to have you on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
All right, there she is, Katlyn Chookagian, a.k.a. Blonde Fighter. Big win for her over Alexis Davis on Saturday. And if you look at her record, if you see who she has defeated, it is certainly impressive. A who's who. And she does have that win over Sijara Eubanks, as I mentioned, way back when, the former CFFC women's bantamweight and flyweight champion. Wins over Alexis Davis on Saturday. Mara Romero Barella, Irene Aldana, Lauren Murphy. I mean, these are no slouches. The one loss was to Liz Carmouche at UFC 205. In fact, she was the first fighter to ever step foot inside an octagon at Madison Square Garden. Liz Carmouche versus Katlyn Chookagian was the very first fight at MSG back at UFC 205, so she made history that night. How about that? The very first fighter to step foot inside the cage. UFC fighter, because she was the blue corner, Carmouche was the red corner, walked in, history made, boom. I think that's something to be very proud of. All right, let us move along. Matter Moments, we'll be talking to Chris Weidman on the program. Always great to talk to Long Island's own Chris Weidman. It has been a little over a year now since we saw him in action. Been checking in with him throughout the year. But, of course, the last time he fought was July of 2017, July 22nd to be exact, against against Kelvin Gastelum. I was thinking of Fyodor Emelianenko versus Chael Sonnen, which will be taking place in the same arena later on this year. That, of course, is the refurbished Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. That's Jake country, for the record. Jake, one of the newest members of our team, doing such a fine job back there. So we haven't seen him, but we've been checking in with him, and his hand appears to be getting better. 2 hand surgeries since the fight. And you'll recall mid last month, we had him on the program, and we talked to him about why he should be next to fight Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker was on the show saying that he thought Chris Weidman should be next. In the end, though, Robert Whittaker is fighting Kelvin Gastelum on... Well, he's going to do the Ultimate Fighter, and then they're going to fight maybe in January, February. We had Robert on the show a couple of weeks ago. He said he's not going to be ready to return in December. So Chris Weidman not getting that title shot, at least for now. Last week, Brett Okamoto of ESPN reported that it's Chris Weidman versus Luke Rockhold at MSG. That's November 3rd. Wanted to talk to him about that. Wanted to talk to him about the recovery, where he goes from here, not getting the title shot, all that and more. And I do believe he is going to be joining us in a matter of moments. I think he's in his car. He's a very crafty fellow, and he's always very gracious with his time. Truth be told, doesn't love doing interviews, and so it's always nice for him to come on the show. Later on in the program, we'll talk to Ilir Latifi, one of the top contenders at 205. Max Holloway coming up. Alert the masses in around 35 minutes. We'll talk to him, 30 to 35. Talk to him about what's next and how he's feeling in his first interview since UFC 226. So I'm looking forward to that and very much appreciate him coming on. Henry Cejudo coming on after that. Something in my throat. I had one of those like peanut things. He's like this peanut ball with a bunch of peanuts in it. Horrible decision. And it's like stuck in there all day. Why I did this, I don't know. Tried to be healthy. Tried to get a little energy for the show. And the little peanut thing just killing me. Okay, after Max Holloway, Henry Cejudo will be on, then Kamaru Usman, TJ Dillashaw, bantamweight champion, and then Jared Gordon. You're going to want to stick around for that. Because he has a crazy story to tell, and we have videos, and we have photos, my friends. And if you don't know about Jared Gordon's story, It's a wild one. All right, let's go to the magic of Skype and say hello to Chris Weidman, who's actually driving right now. This can't be safe.
Hey, what's going on? I'm not texting and driving. I'm just talking and driving.
This is amazing. Where are you going, Chris?
Hands free.
Whoa.
I am going to. I'm going to the gym. Lifetime.
Lifetime?
I just decided. Yeah, I'm gonna get a little sauna workout in.
Wait, you just decided right this moment?
Well, no. I was debating between two things, and then as we were talking, I decided I was either gonna go home first and get clothes, and then go to the Lifetime, or I was gonna go straight to Lifetime. I'm going straight to Lifetime.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that we helped you make this decision.
Yeah, thank you.
You're looking good,
Hey,
Chris.
you know what I say to guys like you?
What?
Shev b'sheket. Shev b'sheket, Ariel.
Sit quietly?
Yes, please.
Why?
Shalom.
Shalom. Yes. Are you embracing your inner Jewish side?
I'm kind of. I'm trying to impress you.
Well,
you don't seem impressed.
Well, we had a private conversation last week where you threw a lot of words my way that really hurt my feelings, so I'm still getting over that, but I'm happy that you're on the show. I feel like this is an olive branch, if you will.
That's right. I learned Hebrew for you.
Thank you. And by the way, Mazel Tov to your lovely parents who just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary. How special is that?
Yeah, it's crazy, right? 40 years. It's amazing.
Wow, okay.
Yep.
Well, we have a lot to discuss. We've been checking in with you, Chris. First update, hand seems to be doing better, right?
Hand's doing better. Feels good. I've been sparring and doing different things with it. I had a hard jiu-jitsu go the other day, and it's feeling pretty strong.
Okay. Are you 100% clear?
I'm having a little bit of a echo. Is that on your end?
No, it's totally fine here. What, you can hear yourself?
Yeah. Maybe it's better now. I don't know.
Okay.
It's not, but whatever. I'm going to fight through it.
Is it distracting?
It's distracting, but I'm going to push through.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want you to be distracted. If you want us to call you on your phone, is it easier?
I mean, is it really that valuable to see my face right now?
It's kind of awesome. Driving. I'm not going to lie. It is kind of awesome.
All right. If it's awesome, I push through.
Okay. If it's bothering you, just tell me, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
Now, are you 100% cleared?
I don't. My doctor. Last time I went to my doctor was like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, and he said that the bone was 100% healed. He does want to see me back, but everything looked good.
Okay.
So, I went ahead. There was no real restrictions. Just don't go like too crazy with it, and I feel good. So I'm sure it's not going to be a problem. I don't think I'm officially to where I went to the doctor. I got a doctor's note saying I'm 100% cleared, but I think I'm good to go.
Obviously, the UFC announced that Robert Whittaker and Kelvin Gastelum are coaching tough, and then they'll fight. You were pushing for that fight. Even Whittaker came out and said he thought you should get the fight first. Were you disappointed you didn't get the fight?
Yeah, I was definitely disappointed. I thought I deserved it, but I was also kind of getting my mind ready to not get that fight. So it's all right. Everything happens for a reason, and I really do believe I'm the best in the world. So whoever I have to fight to prove that, sometimes things take longer than you want, and I'm going to do that. So on to the next one.
Why didn't they give it to you? You beat Gastelum in July. You have a win over him. Why didn't they give it to you?
I don't know, man. They were saying that they couldn't depend on me with my hand. They couldn't. They were worried about my hand not being ready in time. They were initially saying that they were going to be fighting in the beginning, right at the end of the year, in the end of the year show. And I was telling them I'll definitely be ready. And they said they couldn't really justify putting money into promoting an Ultimate Fighter show with the chance of me not being able to fight. And so it kind of pissed me off because there's lots of things that could go wrong with any fighter, so for them to put me in that predicament pisses me off a little bit. What are you going to do?
Well,
Gastelum hasn't made weight. You got Yo Romero hasn't made weight. Whittaker gets injured too. There's always things. It's not like I'm the only guy, but what are we gonna do?
Well, the other weird thing about that is that they then booked you on November 3rd, which is like 2 months before. So if they were worried about you not being healthy, then why did they book you on November 3rd?
Exactly. I don't know. I guess the Ultimate Fighter is more expensive, and they'd rather play that. I don't know. If I had to really guess, I think maybe it's the Mexico thing that Gastelum brings to the table. You got the Australia thing that Whittaker brings to the table. The Ultimate Fighter shows maybe you got the 2 countries or something. Maybe the All-American wasn't as valued in that equation. So I don't know. I can't control it, so it pisses me off. But at the end of the day, I got to move on and keep proving my worth.
Are you fighting Luke Rockhold on November 3rd?
That's the plan. I signed my battle agreement, and I'm ready to go. So Luke Rockhold, it's a good matchup. I got redemption on my first loss ever, and also at MSG where I had my second loss against Yoel. So it would be redemption on in both those angles. So I think it would be a great fight.
Was this a fight that you pushed for, or did they present you with this idea of fighting Rockhold now?
No, that was presented to me.
And you liked it?
And supposedly, they were actually talking to Luke about it way before they were talking to me about it. When I seen Luke in Vegas, he had mentioned, they're trying to get us to fight. I was like, really? I didn't know that. I thought he was going up to 205, so I had no idea. But it makes sense for me, and I like that fight. I want to redeem myself on that one and go out there and perform better than I did the last time. And it's a good fight for me. So
Paulo Costa was very.
He's ranked ahead of me.
Yeah.
So and it's a guy I lost to, so it makes perfect sense to me.
What did you make of Paulo Costa gunning for you, calling you out? Of course, it doesn't look like they're going in that direction, but he was asking for you a lot. Was this something that interested you at all?
I mean, I'm not at the point in my career where I want to go backwards and fight guys that are, I did that with Gastelum. He was ranked, I don't know what he was ranked, like 10 or something when I beat him. I went out and finished him, and now they're going to give me another guy that's ranked up there. What's the point, But if the UFC really wanted to make that fight, I'd do it. And but if it was up to me, I want to fight guys ahead of me. I want to fight for the belt. I want to fight the guys in the top 5. So I think he'll be there soon. He keeps putting work in. I mean, he fought Uriah Hall. I don't know what Uriah Hall was ranked.
Yeah. It seems
I fought Uriah Hall and finished him a long time ago too.
Sure, yeah. Back in the Ring of Combat days. That's right.
We were both undefeated, both up-and-coming stars. That was a big fight.
Could I ask, it seems like they're trying to do some sort of middleweight tournament on that card. Jacare Branch, you versus Rockhold, Brunson Adesanya, maybe Romero Costa. How do you feel about that? And do you feel like you are not guaranteed a title shot? Like it's almost like the guy who looks the best is going to emerge and be the next guy? What is your sense on what they're doing there?
I'm told that I'm the next guy, right?
Okay.
Definitely, that's what I'm told. I'm told I'm the replacement guy if someone gets hurt with Whittaker and Gastelum.
Okay.
But I do see the writing on the wall with this now, where they have all these other guys fighting the same day as me. So I'm not dumb. I see what's going on. And again, I got to go out there and just do what I got to do. Dominate the guy in front of me. Beat up Luke Rockhold and move forward. That's it.
Are you annoyed by that?
Huh?
Are you annoyed by that they're putting all these other guys on the same card?
I think it gets to a point where you just I'm numb to anything like this. I think I'm just numb to it. I just gotta focus on what I can control. If I'm moved by everything that the UFC does, that could possibly piss me off. I'd be an angry person. So I just try to control what I can control, and the UFC is going to do what they feel is best for them. So you can't take it personal. Business is definitely run differently. It used to be
different than the Lorenzo days.
And by the way, I do want to just say one more time that I hear myself echoing, and if I sound a little slow and weird and all over the place, it's because of that. It's very annoying.
Oh, do you want us to call you on the phone for the last 5 minutes?
I I mean, no, I'm good. Get pushing through.
By the way, you are a fighter in every sense of the word, because I don't notice any change in your tone or the way you're speaking, your speech, or the speed in which you're talking, because I've been in that situation before, so I appreciate it. But I just want to ask, are you referring to like Lorenzo days? It's not the same as the Lorenzo days, right?
Yeah, I would say like Lorenzo would call me and tell me something, and then I trust him on that. Like if he was to tell me, Chris, you're next in line, you're getting the title shot, like I feel it comes some comfort in that. It was a different business. I'm not saying it felt better in that respect, but I guess there's just different. There's more positives in other respects that are coming out of the way they handle business now.
Okay. How about fighting in New York? Because you had a great run of fighting outside of New York, and then of course it got legalized here, and it's been a bit of a mixed bag, right? Would you prefer to not fight close to home? Does that just bring more stress, more pressure?
I think again, there's like positives and negatives. There is, extra things that you got to do. Have a fight at home. The last one was amazing, fighting at Nassau Coliseum. It was a great experience. I love having, all my fans, family, friends being able to get to the event. But there definitely are little extra headaches that come with fighting at home, So that's the biggest. I love doing that too. But fighting at Madison Square Garden, has its own set of positives that I love. Yeah.
So right now, as we said, Weidman, Gastelum. There's a bit of a jockeying of position at 185. Romero, I still feel like he thinks that he's going to get another shot, even though he talked about going up to 205. Do you feel like that's like if you miss weight for a title fight, you should not be in consideration anymore?
I would say.
Lost him there for the last few minutes. I was thinking.
Talk about promoting fight.
Okay, let's close it. Let's quickly call him on the phone. Chris, we're going to call you on the phone. I don't know if you can hear me, but we're going to call you because I lost you there.
Doing their part of the job.
Oh.
By making weight.
We're gonna call your cell very. Okay, wait. Are you back? Okay, we're gonna call your cell.
Call my cell phone.
Okay, we're gonna call your cell in a minute. Just a couple minutes left with Chris Weidman here, but I want to just get his take on Yoel Romero, someone who he fought back at UFC 205. He lost that fight, and then we'll say goodbye to him. He is such a mensch. What a great guy in his car, answering our questions. It's a beautiful thing. Luke Rockhold, Chris Weidman, and interesting to hear him talk about the old days, the Lorenzo days, not the first person that I've heard. Business went a little differently. Chris, are you there?
Hey, what's going on? Oh my gosh, so much better.
Oh my gosh, should have done this earlier.
Shev Basheket.
Yes.
Does that sound better now?
Yes, it sounds. Well, it actually sounded great for us the entire time, but I'm sorry that you struggled. I apologize for that. I didn't hear anything you said about Yoel Romero.
I think like going back to what the UFC was saying with me not getting a title fight, they're worried about an injury, and I mean making weight is a pretty bad one too. And if you're not making weight, that's your job. You got to show up and make weight, and obviously there's consequences if you don't. And yeah, if you don't make, he didn't make weight. I think twice. Is it the last two title fights, right?
Yep.
He didn't make weight. I mean, that's pretty bad. I think he definitely should go up to 205 and do that. Or I don't know who would take a fight with him at 185 and actually believe that he's going to make the weight at this point.
Yeah. Well, okay, so speaking.
So I think that's the problem.
Speaking of weight, Rockhold said he wanted to move up, and now he's sticking around at 185, which is a bit of a surprise as well, because he told me he didn't want to do that anymore. How do you feel about how he's looked as of late? He had the Romero fight. He had the David Branch fight. What do you make of Rockhold right now, post-title?
I think he's trying to get his bearings back after, losing to Bisbee. I think that really threw him off. And even in the Branch fight, he won. He did win, but Branch had a good chance of winning that fight. He had him rocked at one point, and Branch went in for grappling. And I think that was probably a mistake that he's going to look back at. But and then against Yoel Romero, just looked like, he had some success in that fight a little bit, but looked like, every time he got hit, he got a little frantic. And, so he's definitely in a tough spot.
Did you feel before it was all said and done that you had to fight at MSG again to right the wrong of a couple of years ago? Was that important to you?
I guess not really. It wasn't something that was that I was thinking about. I just want to improve every fight. I know there's things in that fight, obviously. With the Yoel Romero fight in particular, it was just one mistake, really, honestly. One mistake I made, I shot my head to the wrong side. Boom. Learned from that mistake. And it happened to just be at MSG. I'm not looking into it that deep to where it's like, it's not a haunting thing. But I do see it as an extra, maybe a little motivation moving into this fight. I lost, my first fight I ever lost was Luke. He derailed me. And to have the opportunity to win that fight back is really a big thing that excites me. And on top of it, a little extra motivation knowing that the last time I was in MSG, I lost. I got knocked out in front of a lot of excited people. It was a fight, I was winning and made a mistake, and he capitalized, and it was not a fun experience. So it's definitely exciting to have the opportunity to go back in there and to right that wrong and make MSG a happy place again.
How much do you miss? Like, you're about to really get into the swing of the training camp and have a date and everything. How much do you miss all of this?
Oh, I miss it, man. I miss just being, 100% focused, samurai-like in a training camp, and no distractions other than you focus on your fight. There's nothing better. And the nerves and everything that comes into getting into a fight in front of massive amounts of people. As much as you hate it in the moment, you hate the nerves and this and that. There's no better feeling that makes you feel alive. You feel so alive in those moments. So I'm looking forward to having those feelings again and going out there and capitalizing and getting a big win.
Thanks for doing this, Chris. I know you don't love doing interviews anymore. I don't blame you to a degree.
What are you talking about?
What? Nothing.
How dare you? How dare you speak like this about me?
Hey, and by the way,
what?
I like the new haircut. I don't hate it, but I also like the gentleman's part back in the day. Just want to say that.
Okay, so you like the short skin fade into the sideburns.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
But you also like the cut in part.
Well, this is very circa Alessio Sakara, right? What you got right now.
Oh my gosh, you have a good memory.
Is it not?
You're right. I hated my haircut for that fight, though.
Yes.
And no offense to the guy who did it because he's a great barber, but it was just first of all, for that fight I was out of shape. I was a little chubby, and the haircut was just too much of a skin fade. And I have a baby face, and I was clean shaven, everything. I just looked like a 17-year-old Guido. And I want to get away from that a little bit, but.
So that's all I'll say. You're a very good-looking guy. Let's not beat around the bush here. But I'll just say I miss the part. That's all.
All right, man. You know what? You might have the part back quicker than you think.
Wow.
Part back.
Wow.
Just like that.
Not only is he coming back, not only is he fighting in New York, MSG, Luke Rockhold, he's bringing back the old hair. This is huge.
That's right, baby.
Thank you, Chris. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Later, man.
All right.
All right. Thanks, buddy.
There he is. Chris Weidman stopping by. Great to hear from him as always. All right. 205. What a mess that place is. Holy smokes. Everyone gunning for Daniel Cormier. People waiting to see when John Jones is coming back. All kinds of movement. There's Anthony Smith. There's guys who are saying they're going up, but they're not going up. They're coming back down to 185. Well, one guy who is very hungry, wanted to check in with him. Ilir Latifi, our good pal. He joins us now via the magic of Skype. There he is. Ilir Latifi. Ilir, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to talk to you as always, Ilir. We thought that we were going to see you in Hamburg last week against Corey Anderson. That didn't happen. You had to pull out, but not a lot of information surrounding that. Could you tell us more? Why did you have to withdraw?
Yeah, against Teixeira.
Teixeira, of course. Corey Anderson replaced you. My bad. Yes.
No, I was preparing hard. It was an important fight for me, and got injured. Last 3 weeks before the fight, got a fracture in the rib, so I had to pull it out, and doing rehab right now. So hopefully later I will be 100%.
How did you fracture your rib?
Training, sparring, over here in Sweden, all started to go hard. Have a lot of good fighters from all over Europe coming over, from Russia, from other places here in Europe. So we go hard all day long.
So afterwards, you've been very vocal on social media. You've been calling out Daniel Cormier, and then you said, forget about you, Daniel Cormier. You're running for me. Let's go after John Jones. You're very fired up right now. Why?
No, but there's a lot of things happening in division right now. I'm ranked number 3. He's a double champ. He's not defending the 205 title. And if he's defending, something has got to happen, So it would look down the rankings to meeting somebody who's like, hold up, I'm number 3 here. You haven't fought against me. So let's make it happen. I know he's injured right now, and I'm injured, so let's make it happen later. But I don't think that's a good way of working, how he's doing right now. So I was like, hey, he's a great guy, fighter. What he's done in the sport is great, but this is business. And I think he's avoiding me because that's what I come with.
And you've trained together, right?
Yeah, we did some training together.
And do you think he's avoiding you because of that experience?
No, I don't think about that. It's not about that experience, or maybe it is. I don't know. But I think, he's in the end of his career. He wants to make some easier fights. And, if you want to do that. But as a champion, you got to fight the best in the division. Or after that, after the rankings. Why do we have rankings? I don't rank myself number 3. The UFC does it. So why are you avoiding me?
Okay, so right now, he obviously came off the fight against Stipe Miocic. He's getting his hand better, but he continues to say, Daniel that is, that he wants to fight again this year, and he continues to say that he is going to defend his light heavyweight title. Has the UFC said anything to you about their plans for him, and if you're going to be in their plans for him?
Right now, I think it's just pulling the time as long as he can. I don't think he is maybe going to be able to go down to 205. It's too hard cutting that weight for him,
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't know what his plan is, But what I know is right now he's holding both of the divisions in a status 2 kind of status, both in light heavyweight and in heavyweight. They're great fighters in both weights. They want a shot at the title. And you want to fight Brock? Come on. Let the real guys who want to fight for the title, defend the title, do that. If you're out after money fights, fine. Leave the belt, both of the belts, and go and fight money fights. That's no problem. Go and fight Brock Lesnar. Go and fight CM Punk or whoever you want. But let the guys that want to fight for the title do that. What do you think about that? Is that a stupid idea?
Well, I think, listen, I don't begrudge him for saying, if UFC says, hey, we want you to fight this fight that you're going to make millions of dollars, of course he's going to say yes. I think it's more on the UFC for even bringing this to his attention, for bringing this to the table. They're the ones who, if they're going to dangle this easy fight that's going to make so much money in front of you, anyone's going to take it. Anyone who says no, as long. But why are they doing it?
I understand that, but in the way, this is making a very, very bad situation for the sport.
Yes, but whose fault is that?
It's starting more to look like a show and fake wrestling and this and that, and it's losing respect for the real fighters that are struggling, that want to do that for real. That struggle that DC did a couple of years ago, now he's going against everything.
Oh, I agree, but whose fault is that ultimately?
I understand. You want to do your money fights, you want to make millions of dollars, fine, do that. But leave the belts, let the guys that want to be champions fight for the belts against the guys that are ranked. that deserve a shot.
But
Not starting to pick easy fights.
That's
not fair.
I understand what you're saying, but ultimately, don't you think it's on the UFC to recognize that a guy who hasn't won in 8 years should not be given a title fight? A guy who is suspended right now for cheating should not be in a title fight?
I mean, it's
a
joke. It's against everything what you stand for as a fighter. We fighters go through so much. We struggle through much to get success and have a good career. And then I don't think belongs in this sport. You know, we're so much bigger than that. I mean, the money fights should be the fights with the biggest fighters, with the biggest in fighting. That's to make the most money. Not bringing in somebody who hasn't fought in a couple of years, who's tested positive once or twice. I don't even know. Come on. And the other thing is, he was killing John Jones about being on steroids. And I'm like, he's a cheater, he's in this and that. And now you want to fight the guy who's also a cheater. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, so the UFC hasn't told you anything, though?
Right now, no, nothing. We haven't talked about it anymore on this, so let's see what happens, you know.
So... how does it work, though? Go ahead.
He can avoid, he can try, you know, but I'm saying, I'm just being honest, you know. And it's so obvious that he's avoiding, you know. Everybody sees it. It's like you're diving down the rankings and looking for fights. It's like, it's so obvious. I mean, then it's got to be something. You don't want this because you know it's going to be hard. And I told them how hard it's going to be.
Okay, so how does it work? Because you're in Sweden right now, you're teammates with Alexander Gustafsson. He was on the show last week, and he's pushing for the exact same thing that you're pushing for right now. Like, you guys are neck and neck. How is this going to work out?
Yeah, I mean, you know, me and Alex, we started this journey together, and we've always been on each other's sides. And I always told them, you know, if you get the title shot, I will support you, I will train with you, I will help you as much as we can. And if you get the title, I'm going to be happy for you. And I will go up to heavyweight. I will fight in heavyweight. I won't challenge my teammate, my friend, who we made the success together, you know. It's a journey that we made together with blood, sweat, and tears, you know, and we'll always be there for each other. So I understand he was not number one ranked, but DC doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight Volkan. I'm number 3. So what's the reason now? You can run, but you can't hide. No, there's no reason.
You think he is avoiding you guys?
He is.
And do you think it's because of a matchup issue, or is it because of a money issue? Like, he's just looking for fights that are going to make him more.
It's a matchup issue.
You think so?
100%.
For you in particular?
It's a matchup.
Okay, tell us
he
why.
Doesn't like this matchup.
Tell us why.
Because he knows I'm going to take it.
Look at me, my chair just fell down. But what? He knows that what? He knows that you're going to take him down?
No, I'm gonna take him. I told him 2 rounds maximum.
2, and you're going to knock him out?
Finish.
Has he responded to you yet? Because I saw him respond to Corey Anderson. Did he respond to you?
Yeah, he gave me a response after that. I was like, man, you're responding others over here, this and that talking, but you ain't responding to me. What's up with this? Come on, man.
What'd he say? I didn't see his response.
Yeah. You go in and look. He says, like, yeah, he'll fight everybody, but it's easier to talk, show up and do it, you know? I'm ready to fight him.
Now, what do you say to people, Ilir, who say, you were just supposed to fight against Glover Teixeira, you didn't fight that fight, why should you get a title shot now?
Hey, everybody gets injured, huh? DC got injured. People get injured all the time. Khabib got injured. A lot of fighters get injured. This is a tough sport. We train hard. I push myself hard every time to be in the best shape. I'm ranked number 3. I'm the 3rd guy in the line. Why shouldn't I get the shot?
And when do you think, given your rib injury, when do you think you'll be able to return?
I can fight in November.
Okay.
Madison Square, no problem.
Oh, wow. That'd be nice.
I have a lot of fans in New York. A lot of Albanians.
Okay. But just to be clear, if they say to you, because rankings-wise, it wouldn't make a lot of sense, you versus Alex, you'll never do that.
Sorry?
If they said to you, you know, rankings-wise, it makes a lot of sense, you versus Alex, 2 versus 3, you would never do that, right?
No.
No. Even for the belt?
No.
Wow.
Are you this? We already talked about.
All right, but things are. It's weird though because now you're neck and neck. Now you're literally in the same level. You know what I mean?
Would DC fight came?
No, that's why he moved up. I'm not blaming you. I just want to ask for the record.
What's the difference?
I didn't know if
Just
things changed.
You know.
Okay.
It's about loyalty.
I hear you.
Things that are bigger than money, than everything.
I hear you. By the way, is that a Notorious B.I.G. painting in back of you over there? It's incredible.
Yes, it is.
I love that. Wow, that thing's amazing. Who made that? I like it a lot. Who made that?
It's an art piece of a famous.
Wow.
Natural. Yeah.
Is that your house?
No, it's my friend's place.
Oh man, props to your friend. That's a great piece.
He's crazy about art.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's amazing. Wow. All right. So fair to say, I feel you're always a very calm, cool guy, but you're a little frustrated right now, right?
I'm not frustrated, you know, but sometimes, you know, I come from an era of fighting. I wrestled all my life. I worked hard and I did my work, you know, and I let my work talk to the success. But sometimes in this sport, you have got to say what you really feel,
Sure.
you know?
Sure.
And when people are starting to bullshit you and like avoid you, I got to say what I feel, you know?
Mm-hmm. What's your message to Daniel Cormier? He watches this show every week. What do you want to say to him?
Well, I say, get ready and let's make it happen, you know? Never fought a wrestler like me. Same size, same style. This is a dream matchup. This is a real fight.
By the way, how are the animals?
The animals?
Yes.
You're going to see my show soon.
Oh, is it coming out?
Hopefully soon. I gotta have some times out of fighting
Yeah.
to be able to do it because I need a lot of time to travel around and do my.
There are talks? Talks going on? There are talks going on about your show? It's in
Yeah.
the Oh. I saw you tweeted another picture of you on a horse. Is that an old picture?
You know, I love being out of nature.
It's amazing. I want to see that show. They need to make it happen.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
All right. Well, good luck, Ilir. Thanks for checking in with us. I hope it works out for you, my man.
Thank you. Take care, huh?
All right.
See you
Take care.
soon.
We'll see you soon. There he is. Ilir Latifi, fired up. Wants his shot. Thinks Daniel Cormier is ducking him.